Welcome to another S&P 500 analysis. It finally did it again. The E-mini S&P 500 future took out its Globex all-time high, and the S&P 500 closed with a new all-time closing high. Once again, this market message came to you like it has done in the past. Although the past performance is not indicative of the future, but so far, this message from the market has been reliable. Now what? Is this market coming down now since only the S&P 500 made new high last week? All the other major market indexes did not? In this video, we will look at the market sentiment, the internals, and some key stocks and instruments to watch to see where the S&P 500 and the market might be headed. Stay tuned. Before we begin, I have an announcement to make. I just started a new video series where I will show you the trade setup on some of the stock from my scanner. I will show you the trade parameters I'm using, things like entry level, stop loss, and target levels. Go check it out after you have finished watching this video. I have posted a link in the description below and up at the upper right hand corners, and also at the end of the video. Let me know if you like the new video series or not, and any feedback and suggestions you have to help me improve the format for this new series. And also click the thumbs up on that video for me to get a gauge of the interest level in this type of video for me. Now let's go take a look at the S&P 500 and the market. Let's start off with the weekly chart for the S&P 500. As you can see, I put down the range here for last week. It was only 41.33 points, and it gained 17.55 points or 0.41%. And also looking at the candle, the range is relatively small, even in a recent week standard. So right now, we're basically looking more like a NR7 type of a candle, although the price is still above the 10-week and 40-week moving average, and also above this trend line. The S&P 500 did put in a new all-time high and also closed with a new closing high last week, and it closed at 4247.44. The previous high, the closing high was 4232.60, and the high, the prior all-time high was 4238.04, and on Friday, the high was 4249.74. So we got a new closing high and also a new all-time high. Looking at this sentiment chart here, you can see that on Friday, the S&P 500 closed up a little bit over 8 points, or 0.19%, and the VIX is still down below the 20 level, and it closed at 15.65. And also the put-call ratio is actually under 0.5. It closed on Friday at 0.49. And on Wednesday, it actually went as low as 0.37. So the market participants are definitely showing no fear, and they are getting a little bit excessively bullish in my mind, in my opinion. So got to be a little cautious about these extreme optimism and bullishness. And on Friday, we did see a little bit of an expansion on the up-down volume ratio. It had 1.9 times more up volume than down volume, and also the advanced decline on Friday, the advancer lead the decliner by 1,072. And on Friday, there were 237 more new 52-week high than new 52-week low in the New York Stock Exchange. And once again, the cumulative advanced decline line from the New York Stock Exchange pushed into a new high along with the S&P 500 closing at a new closing high. So everything is in sync. The advanced decline, cumulative advanced decline line certainly did not show any divergence on this new all-time closing high from the S&P 500. And for the NASDAQ 100, it closed up 37, almost 38 points on Friday, at 0.27%. It did not close with a new closing high or put in a new all-time high. But the up-down volume ratio was positive, and it was 1.79, almost 1.8 times more up volume than down volume, and also the advance leading the decliner by a margin of 1,113. And there were 148 more new 52-week high than 52-week low in the NASDAQ market on Friday. And we continue to see the cumulative advanced decline from the NASDAQ to improve. As you can see right now, it is coming up to this pivot high here, although the NASDAQ 100 is getting close to its all-time closing high. So we're going to keep an eye on the cumulative advanced decline line in the NASDAQ market when the NASDAQ 100 closes at a new closing high to see how the cumulative AD line is behaving. So all in all, the sentiment is definitely getting a little bit too complacent and bullish. So we got to exercise caution on establishing long position. So I'm not saying to go short on this market based on the sentiment, but be cautious in terms of position sizing and the amount of risk that you want to put on the table at this time. Now, the internal did show strength from the advanced decline and the cumulative, especially the cumulative advanced decline line. So pay attention to that when the market continue to push to new high territory. We're looking for a sign of divergence, especially negative divergences. All right, that will give us a clue that the market is ready to do a little bit of a pullback or consolidation. So by no means right now, based on the internal and the sentiment that we have seen the top. So let's go and take a look at the price action of the S&P 500 and the other major market indexes and see what they've been doing and what they are telling us. Now let's take a look at the S&P 500 daily chart here. You can see that on Thursday, it put in a new all-time high at 4249.74. Then on Friday, it closed at a new all-time closing high at 4247.44. Right now, we're still looking at this 4342 area, this 127 extension for a possible target. But also the other thing is to note here, right here, this is basically like a double bottom here. Right? And it broke out of this pivot high, came back down and back tested here on this particular day, previous week. And right now it is, continue to move up and broke out of this 4238.04, which is the prior all-time high. So even if we are not looking at this 127 extension and just get a major move of the double bottom here, so we just kind of get a little bit of approximation here, not an exact measurement. So we just get a major move of this 100%, and that will put this S&P 500 up at the 4,300 level. Right now, the approximate number is 4,306. So kind of keep an eye on that. The 4,300 level could be, the one of the psychological level because it's a round number. Now, realistically, we have to put in something for the downside, right? Because the market really, seriously, it doesn't just go up. I know somebody out there think that the market only goes up. So, but, if it decide to pull back a little bit, I think the first level that I'd be keeping an eye on would be this 4,200, essentially this gap here, right? This gap here on this high here is 4,204.39, and this low here is 4,206. So we're looking about that 4,200 area, for a near-term pullback. And if it decides to pull back a little bit more, then we will be back at this level here. Maybe testing this area here. So it'd be somewhere around 4180, 4170 area. Okay, so that would be some near-term pullback level that I'd be keeping an eye on. And that if all else fail, these levels fail, then we're back to this 4060 area. Okay, so those are the upside target and downside target to keep an eye on for the coming week for the S&P 500. And for the NASDAQ 100, the NASDAQ 100 is making its way back up to this all-time high near the 14,073.48. And we do have a 127 extension up here. at the target level somewhere around 14,584. So once again, the NASDAQ 100 is making progress to the all-time high. And also looking at this here, basically this is like a little bit of a double bottom like we saw on the S&P 500. And here came down and sort of tried to backtest this pivot high here, this breakout level, and then kind of got back up above this 13,713. Remember, we were saying that if it get above this and also take out this pivot high, then the all-time high is back in play. So I wouldn't be surprised in the coming week that we will see the NASDAQ 100 come out and take out the all-time high. Okay, now, of course, there's going to be some pullback. Anything is possible, so we have to be prepared for the inevitable, that the market does, come down sometime. So, the pullback that we'll be looking for is once again, this 13,713 level. That would be one of the levels that we'll be keeping an eye on. And if it decides to pull back a little bit more, then we essentially are looking at this pivot high or this pivot low here, okay, for potential support. Then again, we can't do a measurement on this, for a major move of this double bottom extension because it's already exceeded the 100% major move. You could look at a 1618 and that would put it up at 14,172. So, anywhere above that 14,200 to 14,584, let's wait and see how it will react, how the market will behave when the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 makes a new all-time high in the coming days. And for the Russell 2000, we also saw it try to get up to the new, try to get up to its all-time high at 2360.20. On Wednesday, it tried to make its way up there and then kind of got a little bit of a pullback. Decided to turn around a little bit. On Friday, it did had a nice day, and came up and recovered some of the recent loss. So right now, it still appears that it is coming up to test the all-time high at 2360.20. If it does pull back, then we basically are looking at this 2297 level here. And once again, we did see a similar type of price pattern like the S&P 500 and also the NASDAQ 100. They kind of broke out of this little bit of a W pattern or a double bottom pattern, and it make its way up. So we could take a look at the major move of this double bottom, and you can see that on Wednesday it actually got up close to that 100% major move. It was 2350.70. Well, hey, with the it probably did because I wasn't I'm not accurately measure these pivot point. So all in all, it is major move of this little bit of a double bottom type of a pattern. So again, we essentially are looking for this to come up and possibly put in a new all-time high in the coming days. So let me get rid of this thing here. So we're essentially looking for it to come up to this 2360.20, right? And then what we will look at when it get up there, instead of the Fibonacci extension, we are basically going to be looking at this major move of this box here, right? This consolidation of this balance area. Okay, so that's basically what we're going to do. And let's put in some. Let's take a look at some approximate. Well, let's make it a little bit more accurate here. Okay, so if we are doing a 100% major move, that will put this thing up at a target level somewhere around 2635.30. All right. Okay. So that's basically this distance here, and I'm just projecting this distance up from this pivot high, and that's why I get that 100%. All right. So those are some of the levels to keep an eye on in the coming days. Now, the transportation, the Dow Jones transportation, been kind of weak. Remember, we were talking about a pullback and watching this particular support level somewhere around this 15,300. As you can see, on Wednesday and Thursday, it closed below that, And then on Friday, it kind of tried to get back above that level, close at 15,327. So we're going to keep an eye on the Dow Jones Transportations to see what it'll be able to recover and come back up and get above this, what was a support level. Okay, this 15,327. Or would it come down and test this 15,000 level? That's a level that we're keeping an eye on for potential support as well. Okay, so definitely the Dow Jones Transportation is experiencing a pullback. So definitely the Dow Jones Transportation is the weakest index at the present time. And looking at the Dow Jones Industrial, it also show a little bit weakness comparing to the SP 500, the NASDAQ 100, and the Russell 2000. So the transportation is the weakest, and the Dow Jones Industrial is the second weakest. Right now, it pulled back, inside of this price channel, and it tried to hold this support here. Here's this double bottom here that we're looking at for the industrial. Right, so basically, right now, it seems like it's coming back to back test this pivot point here. So we're going to see what it'll be able to get a bounce back up and take out the all-time closing high. Remember, we still have the Dow theory in play right now. A lot of people are saying, oh, well, the transportation is moving down. It's not good for the Dow Jones Industrial. Well, that's a conventional way for a lot of these people looking at the Dow theory. I have a different perspective on it and a different way to interpret it. So right now, my Dow theory interpretation is that I'm expecting the Dow Jones Industrial to come up and make a new closing high eventually, right? No, it's not in years. One of these sarcastic people out there to say that, when I put up talking about the Globex all-time high, that signal that we've been getting to kind of alert us to look for S&P 500 to make new high. Say, yeah, the market will always go up, eventually, for years, so it's useless to use that indicator. Come on, people, be real, right? We're talking about near term. We're not talking about years. We're talking about trading. We're not talking about investing, right? So now let's take a look at the 10-year yield and also the gold and the US dollar. And here we go. The 10-year yield dipped below the 15.29 or 1.53%. That support level that we're watching, one of the low level in this zone here. Remember, we're watching for the interest rate basically to chop around inside of this zone here between 1.76 and 1.53. You see right now, after the CPI number came out, last week, the yield just went down, and so much for inflation, right? Okay, so right now it's sitting at 1.46. Okay, that's where it closed last week, right? And also, so right now we're basically looking to see how low could it get. That'll all depend. Next week, this coming week, the FOMC is going to be meeting, and there's going to be some announcement, and the Chairman Powell going to hold his little press conference. Then we'll see where this 10-year yield will go after that, announcement on the latest rate policy and also the press conference from the Fed chairman. So what's with the dollar, right? The dollar is coming up and hitting 90.55. So we'll see. Will it be able to come up to this 91.24, right? Okay. So right now the dollar seems to be showing some strength here. Now will this hold? After when everything sank in about the inflation and the the budget and deficit, right? Trade imbalance, right? And the Fed balance sheet, and also hey, there's still people out there talking about tapering. So I don't know. We'll see, right? Those things, it really doesn't matter, until it matters. Because as a trader, what is important for us to keep an eye on is the price action. Because everything reflects in the price, right? We could not keep track of the millions of reasons why certain things move a certain way. Because we got millions of talking heads out there that say, well, I think the market did this because of that. And then there's another person who say, no, I think the dollar did this because of that, right? So for us, it doesn't matter because every one of those opinions will be reflected in the price itself. So just watch the price. So sometimes we say, well, if the US dollar go down, then oil will go up. And if the US dollar goes up, then the oil price will come down. Well, in this case, it's not, right? Oil will continue to go up even with the announcement that Iran will be able to export their oil now, okay? So it's coming up to the 75. That's basically the one I'm looking at, all right? Now, people think that, might be a little crazy, but hey, you tell me this market is actually logical, right? So the silver market is still, bouncing inside of this zone here between 2667 and 2950. And I'm basically watching to see if silver could get up to the 2950 area here. Now, we did see a little bit of a pullback from the gold, basically on the dollar, on the strength of the dollar on Friday. But again, basically still looking for this thing to chop between this zone here, between 1846 to 1923. And if we could get up above this 1923, then again, this 1960 area is in play. So I'm still watching this little consolidation here, right, bouncing around. All right, worst case, come down and test this 1846. See, get a little bit of a bouncing up toward the 1923 and see what it break out. All right, now if it break below this 1846, then yes, I'd be back at looking at this 1804. Remember this 1804 level? Put this up for quite a long time, didn't I? So anyway, now let's go and take a look at the two stocks that I will also be keeping an eye on. Apple will be one of the stocks that I will be keeping an eye on because it has such a heavy weighted influence to the S&P 500 and also the NASDAQ 100. Remember earlier I was saying that watch for the pullback to this trend line. And as you can see, it has pulled back to this trend line and it bounced off from it. So right now it appears that it might be making a move up toward this 135. And if it does, then that will help push the S&P 500 and also the NASDAQ 100 along with the other major market indexes to move up. And that will probably get another new all-time high to those market indexes. And the other stock that I will be watching is Tesla. You can see Tesla have broken down from this trend line earlier and came down to this low volume zone here, this edge, and got a nice bounce off of it. And it came up to this somewhere around this 625 area, and it seems to be chopping around inside of this high volume area here. Let me zoom this in so we could take a closer look. So it seems to be chopping around right here, right now, in this high volume zone. So basically looking to see would it be able to come up and get to this little bit of low volume area around 650. If it could get up there, then again, that will also push the S&P 500 upward. And that also might give it a little bit of a head start and toward the 700 level and come back up to possibly to the 715. So those are the two stocks that I will be keeping an eye on, Apple and Tesla. So there you have it. The S&P 500 made a new all-time high, closed at a new closing high. The market internal is no sign of weakness, but the market sentiment a little scary because the market participants are getting too complacent and too, bullish. So we got to keep an eye on those and be a little bit cautious about, extending additional risk on this market here. Not saying that the market going to come down and sell off, but we could see some surprise move, to shake some of those optimism out. And right now, we're basically still looking for a newer high, and we are expecting the Dow Jones Industrial, or at least I am expecting the Dow Jones Industrial, and possibly the other major market indexes such as the NASDAQ 100 and the Russell 2000 and the S&P 500 to make another new high. So be sure to check out my new video series that I have present some of the stock picks from my scanner, show you some of the trade parameter that I'm watching. Also, let me know how you like that video, and if there's any format that you'd like me to improve to make it more appealing to you, put them on the comment section in that video. So thank you for watching, and be sure to smash that thumbs up to help me share and promote this video, and stay safe.